Good evening, everyone. Thanks very much for coming. This is something a little bit special. Obviously, I'll introduce Jordan in a moment, who will tell us what this is all about. But just to go back a little bit, I went to a launch of the i4 some time ago, and I met Professor Rafael Gomez, who heads up this organisation. And we chatted about it, and some of you may remember he did come to one of our meetings and talk to us, but that was sort of before this had been opened officially, this facility. And then when it was opened, BMW Germany kindly donated this beautiful car, which sits here, pride of place, left-hand drive. Anyway, I'll just let Jordan talk to you about what BMW Group QUT Design Academy is all about. So, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to host you guys tonight and share a bit about what we do. As you were saying, Raf, who's kind of our director and founder, he was at one of the meetings last year, but yeah, that was before the car was public knowledge. I don't even know if we found out about it at that point. He can't make it tonight, unfortunately, so apologies on his behalf. So I'm a design associate here at the Academy. I'll go through kind of about what we do, and I'll keep it brief just because I know time and I'll bore you with all the details. I'll try and tailor it a bit more like M8 specific, because I know that's probably the real reason, or one of the things one of them it's about. And we've also got Mike, who's part of the team over the back as well. So yeah, I'll go through some of that stuff. I'm going to work through a lot of this slide deck as well, just to keep it short and brief. And then yeah, questions at the end, please let me know. Right, so yeah, basically in short, the Academy, so we're a formal partnership between BMW Group in Germany and then the School of Design at QUT here in Brisbane. And basically kind of our little bio is that we're a design hub for advanced learning, cutting edge research and R&D projects, focused on the application of emerging technologies. So things like virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, robotics, things like that. So I'll tell you a little bit about the three programs that we kind of structured and work around and what each of those do. And I'll talk about the M8 as well, and kind of why we have it and what we do. So this is the team, or sort of a couple of guys have just finished this year actually. But basically Rafael, top left, myself, Mike, got a couple other designers working with me as well. Mo and James have just finished their respective roles. Next year, we've got Alexandra starting her PhD with us, and hopefully another design associate or two as well, which will be the rule. So slowly growing the team. And in Germany, our key contacts are Jimmy and Dylan. So Jimmy helped Raf set up the Academy, in kind of the Raf equivalent in Germany. And then Dylan is QUT alumni, not for design as well. He was the first design intern that we had from QUT at BMW, and he now works in Germany. Works, which is the new BMW Group subsidiary. We'll talk a little bit about as well. So that's a team that stands at the moment. We have other departments and areas within BMW Group that we work with and we have contact with. These guys are the main two. So just a very brief summary of some of our achievements. So 2015 was when the formal collaboration was kind of initiated. Dylan had his internship in 2016, and the whole BMW internship program. So we send students from QUT here over to Germany to work in different BMW teams. That following on from Dylan's internship is what really helped establish the Academy. If we didn't have that success there, we wouldn't have been able to set up the Academy now and do what we do basically. So then following years got more serious, so MOUs and contracts signed. 2020, we launched the Academy officially, early 2020, just before the lockdown, which was heaps of fun. So we were based at the Gardens Point campus originally in an office, just one room, and now we have two spaces at Kelvin Grove Campus here. Yeah, earlier this year, we moved here, we unveiled the spaces and announced that we have the car as a resource for students. And since 2016, we've had 26 interns accepted into the BMW internship program. That number is actually at 35 now, so we've got 8 about to go over next year. A 9th is TBC at the moment, but another group now. The last couple of years we've been on pause for obvious reasons, so it's really good that we can continue that now. Basically last year BMW were emailing us saying itching for interns and send them over. We had to hold off a bit just with QT support and all that sort of thing as well as like child restriction. Right, so the three programs that we have are internships, research, and special projects. So while they're each their own thing, they're obviously all kind of linked. So the two spaces we have, we call Alpha Studio and Beta Lab. So Alpha Studio is our office downstairs. It's kind of like a normal design studio, essentially. We've got heaps of fancy computers and tech that allows us to do the projects that we are working on with BMW. And then we've got Beta Lab, which is here, which is kind of our hybrid workspace, presentation sort of space. And that's obviously home to the M8. So it's really good that we have these two spaces now. QT is really supportive of us, being very generous, giving us this room, kindly paid for the renovation in here as well, which is really nice, which I think really shows off the car as well, which gives us much more presence. So the elephant in the room, or the big black car in the room, is the M8. So we were given this car, so the university was donated this car by BMW on the premise of it being a research and design tool for students at the university. Basically, the only instructions were you have to destroy it in X amount of years when we say so, and you can't drive it on road or a test track, which is obviously the real one. Obviously, really disappointed about that one. But other than that, they're really kind of relaxed in terms of what we use the car for. So obviously, for us being part of the School of Design, there's so many different projects we can do with the car through undergraduate design projects, and basically embedding access to the car throughout all the different units that we have. And then also like PhD and master's programs as well. So some of the design projects, so basically breaking down the car into all the different elements and kind of parts and all the different things that make up such a big kind of object and machine like a car. So materials, manufacturing, ergonomics, aesthetics, test bed for like applying emerging technologies or some more conceptual stuff as well, and using this to prototype or understand how you might go about some of those things. Obviously, a lot of the interaction and infotainment stuff as well. There's a lot of opportunity there. Interior, exterior, vehicle design, all that sort of thing as well. So there's so many different things we can do, and a lot of that can be teaching fundamental skills for like first year students, and then some of that can be the more advanced stuff for like third year, final year students as well. So we've got a couple of units that we've had a bit of access or in contact with this year since we announced the car, but at the moment we're trying to basically expand that reach and do more with different disciplines and areas within QUT. So, for example, outside the School of Design, there's the Games Design unit, which is part of engineering faculty. We've got some projects and things going on with them, so slowly leading up to very good. And then research projects, a lot of that's a bit more like forward thinking, things like advanced wearable and haptic technologies, interaction and experience design stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be automotive design, it can be mobility in general. Or it could just be that the car is a good tool to understand some of that stuff, or use it as a platform for testing those technologies and different areas, whether they're maybe not mobility related, but using a tool like this allows you to kind of understand some of that stuff. VR, AR stuff, and then more infotainment, interior design, things like that. Obviously, there's a big shift and push for like autonomous cars, which quite sad to be honest, but things like that as well. So there's obviously a lot of opportunity and areas to explore within those topics, which is something we can use in Harvard as well. There's just a couple of photos from the video shoot that we did last year, which we showed off early this year when we announced the car. I'll show you the video just because the production quality is amazing, and there's lasers and cool stuff. So I'll show that at the end, but yeah, obviously like you guys know, it's a pretty good looking car. Plenty of photos on the website as well. Right, so first program is internships. So the little byline for that one is fostering design excellence. So the internship program is kind of in two parts. So the first one is the BMW internship program in Germany. So sending students, either undergraduate or just graduating students from QUT over to BMW in Germany. Next year, we're going to have a couple in Hansel in the UK as well. And basically, they go over, do these cool projects, learn a heap of skills, they come back, and there's sometimes opportunities to work here in the academy, like what I did, for example. But most of the time, you just come back with new skills and knowledge, and it makes you kind of more well-rounded designer. And those skills obviously really transferable to different kind of industries and jobs wherever they end up. It may not be kind of mobility or like robotics, tech sort of stuff like what we're doing a lot of, but basically anything really. So we kind of developed this advancement track. So it's not essential, but the idea is that students do an internship with us at the academy here as well. So that's the second part of the internship program, is internships in the house here. So students do that through their units as part of their degree. They get credit points. They get to do these cool projects as well with us. So the idea of them doing the academy internship is they learn some of the core fundamental skills and can upskill a lot, which is A, transferable to the rest of their studies, B, industry when they graduate, but C, and really importantly, is gives them a leg up for the Germany internship program if that's something they want to do and they get accepted into it. So the idea is basically streamlining and kind of making them more well prepared and well equipped for the Germany internship program. So it's less of a dive in the deep end, basically. So that's the middle part of it. And then, like I was saying, sometimes there's opportunity to come back and get a job here at the academy, or if you're Dylan, I was talking about before, you get a job at BMW in Germany. So when he finishes internship, you got a call saying, come work for us. He ended up getting a lifetime contract, which is quite common for people at BMW, but in Australia, it's not really much of a thing. So it essentially means you get a contract and you have to really stuff up for us to get rid of you. Basically, you're going to leave on your own terms. But he's now with Ideal Works, which is a new subsidiary, so not BMW anymore technically. So these are just some of our academy interns we've had. So we started it in semester 2, 2020. Every semester we take 4 students. That number is going to keep growing, obviously. So the guys in the middle there were the ones that just finished with us. We've got another 3 doing a summer internship with us as well. So keep adding to this number, which is really good. And the projects that we write will develop for them. There's kind of a range there. So some of them are more like industrial design or graphic design, sort of general ones. Others are really niche or specific ones. So like 3D modeling and rendering with like really specific skills. We've also had some students work on projects with one of the kind of entertainment digital products teams. So doing some app design stuff. So with Mini, which is really cool as well. They're live projects as well. So they're actually influencing some of that. Most of the time internal apps and systems, but sometimes customer facing stuff as well. So it's a really unique opportunity for students. So yeah, the idea is we basically help them grow and develop those skills while they're here with us. So the BMW Group interns, these are the different teams that we've got students going into or have worked in previous. So IdealWorks was actually a team within BMW, but then it kind of became its own subsidiary company. Tech Office, robotics, autonomous systems, infotainment I'm working on because I think it'd be great to have students in there. Motorrad is TBC at the moment, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then Hansel in the UK, which is the engine plant. So a lot of the projects are around like digitization and innovation topics in the logistics manufacturing areas. The Motorrad one, if all goes well, we'll have someone in like the purchasing business sort of position. We were really close to having someone in the design team. It didn't work out, unfortunately. So we're going to keep pushing on that because I think if we can get QUT students in the design team in BMW, that's pretty amazing because normally it's very like closed off and really hard to get into. So that'd be really good. So yeah, these are the students we've had so far. I need to add in the photos of the students that are going over next year, obviously. But yeah, 26 accepted. There was a couple of students that were given the green light to go but weren't able to make it just with lockdowns and international travel. They kind of just missed it off. But yeah, so last kind of batch that we had was I think 8 students accepted, and then yeah, next year will be minimum 8 that we have sending over. Yeah, so this will be all full. So these are some photos. So a lot of it obviously you can't photograph or share just with projects and confidentiality stuff, but obviously students get to do kind of factory tours or they get to do projects in the factories, presentations. We also highlight that photo on the bottom left there. That's Dylan and Daniel presenting to Oliver Zips, who's the CEO of BMW. Pretty big deal for some random guys from Australia. It was funny because Daniel was like they asked to cut his hair and shave his beard off. It was like fit the image. He declined obviously. But yeah, it's really cool that students have these opportunities. Tim, who's one of the guys that works here, he presented to the board of directors as well. He had to fill in for Dylan. So he understandably was quite nervous about that. But yeah, just really cool opportunities basically. The next one is research. So exploring new knowledge horizons is the little kind of byline there. So masters and PhD projects. So things that align with QUT and BMW interest. So because we're part of QUT, and QUT is very research focused and driven, that's one of their priorities. We have these requirements in terms of outputs for PhDs and master's projects that we have to fulfill. So that's where this fits in. But obviously BMW benefit out of it as well, especially with the really like forward-thinking conceptual sort of projects. So the main sort of areas, there's topics under each of these, but these are the main areas. So there's robotics and human-machine interaction. So that's looking at like logistics manufacturing applications. HMI stuff, that's a bit more mobility focused, like just mobility as a whole, not necessarily cars. And then the last one is design thinking. So basically the application of design skill sets and those sort of methods and perspectives in large companies, and how different teams who may not have designers traditionally can benefit from those sort of students or people basically. And then the last one is special projects. This is something else I work on. This one is basically support for different teams that we work with at BMW. So they'll either say we've got a whole project that we want you guys to do. So we do it, send it back, and it's happy days. Or they'll say we need a bit of help with this, like we're doing most of this, but we're going to outsource this little part of the project to you guys. So we help out with that. So mostly it's been Ideal Works and the tech office sort of teams, but we're doing one with Amstel now. So the main project, or one of the main projects we did for special projects area, was the IW Hub robot. So this is the core product that the Ideal Works company sells. So basically it's an autonomous robot that essentially does the job of a forklift. So it drives underneath dollies, picks up big containers of car parts, moves it around. The really amazing thing about this robot is that it's fully autonomous. So you give it a point A and a point B, and everything that happens in the middle, it works out on its own. It's not an AGV, which is the robots that Amazon, for example, use, where it has like a line or a magnetic strip on the ground it follows. This thing can go anywhere and anywhere, unless you set like boundaries or speed limits, that sort of thing. So it's really amazing. So the AI tech in it is what we've been helping the guys develop basically. So to train the AI, you need a digital twin to train it on, so that you're not putting it in the real world and it's not taking out your ankles and crashing into things and causing disruptions of money, etc. Put it in a digital environment with all these realistic 3D models. It can learn, what a forklift is, what a container is, or what I need to interact with, etc. And then they basically upload that to the physical one, and then it can go out into factories and it's ready to go.
Yeah, how many hours machine learning?
I don't know that exact number, but it would be a lot for sure, definitely. And this project started 5-6 years ago inside BMW, and then it became so kind of successful and grew so much that that's when BMW created Ideal Works as its own company to develop and sell and make these robots. So Ideal Works sell these back to BMW to use, but they're also selling to like third-party logistics companies as well. So we've had a lot of involvement with this one. We modeled the entire robot down to like nuts and bolts and all the silly things. Did all the textures and the renders and everything. And this is what was used for like the press releases and the website and all the marketing. So this is something we had a lot of involvement with. So this is like the brain of it that has all the tech in it, the AI tech. It uses NVIDIA GPU. So NVIDIA make like computer chips and the other things as well. So they've got a partnership with that company. Other projects as well, so yeah, like the 3D asset creation, so creating all the models that go into the digital twin to be used. So a lot of vehicles, branded things like boxes and pallets and basically anything that you would find in a factory, we've pretty much modeled it. So kind of the other use case for this now is, the machine learning AI stuff, and then the digital twin, which BMW is also really invested in at the moment, and they're using that for like factory planning and simulations and trying to make everything more efficient and cost effective, etc. So there's different use cases for having a digital twin. But obviously it all starts with having that 3D environment and the 3D assets that fill that environment. This was another Ideal Works project we did, just a configurator. So there's a few other things we've been involved with as well. Basically anything they ask for us to do, we'll do it. At the end of the day, they're paying the bills. So it's really cool though, like super interesting projects, very unique. Whenever anyone asks me what I do for work, there's always like got to give a bit of context about the background and partnership, but then I can tell them about all this stuff, and everyone's really amazing, which is awesome. All right, I'm going to stop talking now. Basically, I'm just going to finish up with, we have a website, LinkedIn, Instagram, monthly newsletter, etc. So if you want to learn more about us, you can have a look through the website or register for the different things. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for listening, and I'll hand it over to anyone who's been any questions.
The BMW Group and QUT Design Academy is a unique partnership between one of Australia's top-ranked universities and the world's leading premium automotive company. Today, we're announcing a new and exciting milestone for this partnership: the endowment of BMW's premier luxury supercar on one of their most sophisticated machines, the M8. This vehicle will allow us to achieve some of our most ambitious goals across research, teaching and education.
We will embed access to the car throughout industrial design and other courses, so current and future students will have the opportunity to learn from the latest technology in the automotive world.
The M8 will allow us to explore many exciting and emerging areas around human-machine interactions, advances in interface technologies, the next generation of vehicle design, and what the user interface will look like in an autonomous future.
Students will be able to work on projects that incorporate the M8, honing their skills in sketching, interior and exterior vehicle design, materials and manufacturing, plus how to integrate interactive technologies.
We feel incredibly fortunate for BMW to trust us with access to this kind of technology, and it underscores what QUT design can offer a company of this calibre. And as a BMW car fan, having one of these to play with is incredibly exciting.
As I think it was quite amazing when I first came across Professor Raphael, that what is happening here in Brisbane. You know, you look at that and you listen to what Jordan was saying. I have trouble comprehending it. I mean, and it's so amazing that the opportunity has been given to these guys to do something as special as this, and to see how BMW are invested in research and development and training and education and internships to do something like this in Brisbane. And it's incredible. It's world stage. Okay. All right. Well, look, I think that's fantastic. Look,
I think I should wait if you want.
all right, thank you very much. That's great. Thank you. One of the other amazing things that's happened just recently is Challenge Bathurst. For those of you, probably you all know about it, so I won't say anything, but we've had a couple of club members who went to Bathurst and participated. Chris Price is here tonight and has kindly come up from the Gold Coast to tell us about it. Also, Kristian Steenstrup, who did the event, can't make it down from the Sunshine Coast, but he and I have worked together and we've done a little video explaining from his point of view. But what I'll do, I'll ask Chris to come up and tell you about his amazing experience and what Challenge Bathurst is all about. Thank you, Chris Price.
Many of you know me from track days. Those that don't, I joined the club about 5 years ago, and certainly attend track days every opportunity I can. Mount Panorama, I guess most people in this room grew up watching the Bathurst races and thinking maybe secretly, gee, what I would give to be able to do some serious laps there myself just to see how I could go. Well, Challenge Bathurst is your opportunity. I didn't know about it until 8 months ago. I'd never heard of it, and maybe many of you haven't either. Challenge Bathurst happens once a year, mainly November, and for a 4-day period, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they shut the track down, and it is just the most incredible 4 days. The first 2 days, Thursday, Friday, is for super sprints. That's where you get serious teams there, teams with money, but not necessarily just the teams with money. Oh, actually, what we're looking at there, we stayed at the hotel, Ridges Hotel, and that was the view, the patio overlooking the track. It was wonderful. So if ever you would consider doing this, you'd have to take the partner along as well, make it like a weekend. But the super sprints on Thursday and Friday were, as it serious. There were cars there doing times faster than the V8 supercars. And you'd have your Ford Mercedes, Teams, Ferraris, Porsches, more Porsches you throw stones at you. And it was an amazing situation. But anybody who wants to go faster could actually join the super sprint. Entry fees a bit expensive for the Thursday, Friday. It's about $4,000 entry fee. So I'm not necessarily recommending that. Days that could interest us would be the Saturday and Sunday. And Saturday, Sunday was called regularity. There were 270 entries in the regularity. That was a full house. I believe there was somewhere like 100 to 200 people still trying to get in on the waiting list who couldn't. The regularity, I use that word loosely. What I believe with regularity, you set a recommended lap time for yourself and you try to stick to it. It was out the window at first. The regularity times, my times were crazy. I couldn't get anywhere near what I was setting. I was sort of getting faster and faster and faster. You're then allowed to go and change your time. Every session you do, if you want to alter your time, no problem, you can do it. We're used to rules like no overtaking at dangerous spots, only overtake. There's a free for all. The first time I encountered that, coming down off over Skyline, down these corners here, and you'd have a gaggle of Hyundais, Mazdas, Nissans, you name it, who would be determined to overtake you. They'd overtake you, outbrake you in the corners, do full wheel lock-ups 10 feet in front of you, coming down there, scare the daylights out of you. But it was all out. I made that sound fairly dramatic. If you weren't cautious, as it could be, but there weren't any accidents. I mean, there were 270 people. Actually, I saw one or two people that came back with a few battle scars on the side of their cars. But the days are just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. If you really want to have a really good run in your car, it's the way to go. Entry fees for the Saturday, Sunday regularity is a little bit steep. It's $1,800 as the entry fee. And I guess it makes it for a fairly expensive weekend when you consider it's a 2,000 kilometre round trip from here, travelling time. You've got accommodation. If you don't already have the gear, everything gets scrutinised. Your helmet, you must have fireproof driving suit, gloves, balaclava, even socks. And they check it all. The officialdom is fairly up there, but incredibly well organised. But that many entries, it's brilliantly organised. Would I go back in a heartbeat? Yeah, I would. Even though I said to my wife beforehand that I'm going to do this, it's a bucket list item for me. We'll pay the money, we'll get it done. I know it's an expensive weekend, but it'll probably get it out of my system and I'll get this racing. I'm afraid it's had the opposite effect. I guess the hope is that something as a team, as a Brisbane BMW club team, may be able to go down to 10. I got in this year through the Melbourne Drivers BMW Club. They had some openings. I responded within 2 hours when I found out I still missed it. I was put on the waiting list, and 3 months later, I got told that I got a spot in the middle. So the difficult thing could be trying to get entries in there. The way they work the system is that anybody who has participated before automatically gets an invite. So somewhere in the future I will get another invite, and I think you get until June to respond to that. Anybody who hasn't responded then gets knocked out and their positions get thrown open to people on waiting lists. Gary, that's something maybe you can check out, I don't know, but whether you're thinking or not that the Queensland BMW Club could look at securing some slots.
Absolutely. We had a meeting last night with the ICC and Paul Clements, who also puts together a team of officials and goes down to this event is also very keen in getting the club involved, both as officials, because officials are sort of almost second best because you're right there on the spot. And I think they had 25 officials they provided this year for this particular event. And the way it works is that they do everything. They transport you down, they pay you for your accommodation, pay for your food, all that sort of stuff. So basically all you do is just provide yourself, they take you down there, they train you, and you're out there on a flag marshal spot in training situation, and then by yourself by the end of the weekend. But it's also part of the whole thing that by being part of the club, we can do that, but we're also trying to organise how we can put together a team so that
The officials did an amazing job down there. For over the weekend, I believe there was something like 240 officials there. So it's an enormous event. Incredibly well organised. Wonderful, you may be interested to see one reasonably quickly. I had this recorded in the car with the track out behind.
Hi everyone, my name's Kristian Steenstrup. I've been a BMW club member for I think 14 years now. Gary asked me to put together a short presentation on my trip to Bathurst for the Bathurst Challenge recently. I would like to have been there in person, but I live at the Sunshine Coast, so it's a bit difficult to get down there. I have done numerous track days with the BMW club, learned a lot, and it's actually why I joined the club, to learn to drive better and do these track days. And over the time, we managed to do a few other events, things like the Mount Cootha hill climb, the Noosa hill climb, numerous times around Lakeside, Queensland Raceway. And when I've been travelling for work, I've been lucky enough to go and do some interesting drives like Formula 3000 at Abu Dhabi. I drove Ice Challenge Minis up in Sweden. And for my 50th birthday, I drove a Formula One car at Monza. But there was one thing missing, and that was to drive at Bathurst, which was a long-held ambition of mine, unfulfilled. Now, the invitation came from the BMW Drivers Club of Melbourne, and they sent a limited number of invitations to us in Queensland. I leapt on the chance because I'd been thinking about it for years. I had one small problem: I'd sold my car. The good news is I'd sold my car to my son. So my trusty BMW 130, which has since been replaced by an excellent BMW 140, was pressed back into service before its taillight slowly disappeared into the distance. You'll notice an enormous amount of blue tape on the front of the 140. Somebody told me that if you're covered in builder's tape, you won't get stone chips. I didn't get stone chips, so maybe it works. So got the invitation, accepted it, got my car loaned back to me from my son. And then comes the next challenge of preparation. The BMW Challenge is run to a much more formal state than some of our track days. It's run under full Motorsport Australia rules, so I had to buy some extra clothing like gloves and balaclava, ensure the car was in tip-top condition, new tyres, etc. So there was a little bit of car prep. I put through full service, all the fluids were replaced to make sure that everything was in order for the trip. And then comes the big day being the check-in. I was actually more nervous about the check-in than track day because I knew that it was very formal. I knew there was a lot of checks and paperwork, so we wanted to make sure that was done correctly. So the car gets prepped up, stickered up, race tyres on, finally get to see the track, amazing track. The facilities world-class, as we know. The queues for check-in weren't too bad. The paperwork was all in order. I felt like handing in my homework and assignment and getting a 10 out of 10. The scrutineering was done pretty efficiently. The photo that you see is a long conga line of cars, but that was after I did mine, and we got down there was only 3 cars in the queue, so we're pretty lucky. Then comes the Saturday. The Saturday is the big day when we're going to go out on the track. So full of optimism and pleased with myself, we grid up in a dummy grid out on the track. And you can see some of the aerial photos my son took from the drone. Just an amazing experience to finally get out on that track. Except 2 minutes into the activity, I start seeing blue smoke coming out the back and roll into the pits. Really deflated. I thought on the first lap I'd blown up the engine. And what had happened was some idiot, that'd be me, didn't put the oil cap on properly. So I had oil spewing everywhere, burning off on the exhaust. No fire, no oil on the track. Really lucky escape. And also lucky that I had my trusty son/mechanic with me, but also my daughter's partner, who happens to be a BMW trained mechanic. And I felt like international race star. I got out of the car before I had my helmet on. Those guys had started taking things apart, cleaning it off, re-prepping the car, making sure it was all good order. It was an impressive pit stop from those guys. I have to thank them for that. And then back on the track, and then it started to come together. It really started to make sense. The drive was amazing, super experience to get out there and feel my way around. And it actually felt pretty natural. Then we started to feel like things were really coming together. It felt natural filing out of the pits, getting in the line with a lot of excellent BMWs from all the clubs that were there. BMW from Melbourne, South Australia, New South Wales, all BMW comrades. There were other cars there, but of course we only have eyes for the BMWs. And just rolling through the pit lane is an awesome experience. And as you can see, the wide open spaces of Conrod can be intimidating. But I'll tell you, that BMW 130 is done over 200,000 kilometres. It's, I think, 16, 17 years old now. And it was rock steady at 220 kilometres an hour going through the chase. It's just an excellent car. Faultless once I got my oil cap sorted out. So tremendous experience getting out on the track, starting to get lap times. It was supposed to be a regularity. I have to tell you, I nominated a time of 3 minutes 15. First time I got a clear track, I blew that away and went to 3:05. So the regularity points were out the window, but the experience was getting pretty good. More of that on the second day, getting faster. I got down to a 3 minute 1 second, which I was very pleased with in a fully kitted road car. It's got a full interior. I had the air conditioning on, frankly. just really enjoying a Sunday drive. The track is billiard table smooth, and I'd seen it so much since I started watching it in 1972 that I felt like I'd memorised the track. But eventually, it's got to come to an end. So great lap times and really fast, smooth experience. A little bit of traffic, but nothing too traumatic. Just had to respect other drivers and be wary of people. But eventually, you get this sad thing where you're packing up, changing the wheels back to the road wheels. One last photo shoot in the pit lane at Bathurst for the 130, and then the 130 and the 140 go out in combo out the back of the pits. Ironically, just as we were leaving, the heavens opened, started pouring down rain just after the event finished. I'd hate to think what would happen if we were there when it rained. But the whole thing was a massively good experience. I turned 60 this year, and that was the dovetail or the bookend to having driven a Formula One car at 50, driving a BMW, my BMW at Bathurst when I was 60 was just a great experience. The track was fantastic. The camaraderie and the people who were hosting us were great. The BMW Drivers Club of Melbourne couldn't have been friendlier and more supportive. And my impromptu pit crew looked after me tremendously. So a bit of rain on the end of it, a nice dinner, and then the long drive home. No events to report, and back home safely. The car was just amazing. Super impressed with the 130. And then, of course, the 140, what a luxury touring car that is. I certainly would prefer to be on the 140, but made myself drive the 130 on the way down to make sure I learned and relearned how to do it. Great experience if you get a chance to do it. All of this comes from the experience of being in the BMW club, helping me learn how to be a better driver, giving me the opportunities to pretend to be a racing driver every few weekends a year. And the support camaraderie of the other BMW clubs. It all comes together when you can do a life event like this, and it really was an important thing for me. Thanks all for listening. I hope it was interesting. I hope it inspires you, and thanks, Gary, for giving me the opportunity.
Well, it is very special. And from Chris's point of view, I think it's just something that you'll never, ever forget. And if we can encourage other people to be that bold, and I think you said to me it was an eye opener for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just can't believe how professional it was.
Yes.
How incredibly well organised it was.
Yeah.
Which all the potential is there for
Yeah.
drama.
Yes.
But if you're sensible,
Mhm.
and I was saying that the rules of what we know as regularity out the window.
Mhm. No.
You can go and
Yeah.
drive quite sensibly, like
Yes.
on our regularities here.
I think that, it's quite amazing when you stop and think about it, an incredible track like Bathurst and an opportunity for people from a club to go and drive it like that is just amazing, with all that support, with all that professional support, all that enthusiasm, and the camaraderie of, as Kristian said, about the other car clubs, just getting together and doing something like that. I think that's just fantastic, and I take my hat off to you and to Kristian and to all those people involved, and I hope that everyone else can spread the word and promote it. Okay, food. Out there, food and drinks. There's still beer, wine.
The soft drinks out there.
There's soft drinks out there, but beer and wine in the fridge inside here. So please come and enjoy.